Okay, hey you guys, we're back with another podcast. We're recording on the phone.
Separately?
Yeah, we're recording on the phone separately. Today is December 8th. Yeah. Wait.
This is so weird doing it.
Today's podcast, we're going to talk about true crime cases. Tiffany, you know you can talk, right?
I know, I was just listening to you talk. This is going to be so much, editing for you.
Shut up.
I can already feel it.
It won't be that difficult.
That's why I don't want to, talk that much, because I don't want you to, have to edit all of it.
It's not going to be that difficult. I don't know which is yours and which is mine. It's not that difficult.
Well, maybe you'll confuse our voices for each other.
Ew. Yeah, so before we start out with true crime cases, I just want to inform you guys that today rapper Juice WRLD passed away at the age of 21. He just turned 21 5 days ago. He had a seizure getting off an airplane in an airport in Chicago, I believe. Yeah. Today, December is going to be a really shitty month, even though it's my birthday month.
Yeah, it's your birthday month.
It's a fucking shitty month. It's about to be X's year and a half and 10 days. Oh, this month is fucking shitty. Yeah, it's December 18th. It's his year and a half. Yeah. Ew, Tiffany just got out the shower. She looks like Charles Manson, which actually we're not talking about today, but...
You can see me?
Yeah.
I can't see you.
I know.
Oh, damn.
I don't know why, but the camera is just not on.
Dude, I don't know why since it said poor connection, I was she can't see me.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, but today the first case that we're going to talk about is going to be the Menéndez case. And Tiffany, this is Tiffany's
literally the disrespect that she just put out there, guys.
Is that not the name? Oh, it's Menéndez case.
Literally the disrespect. You better just edit that out, because I'm disrespect. I feel so disrespected right now, guys, because this is my case.
Okay, so start.
This is really my case. How do we start? Do I just talk about it, even if they don't know it?
Yeah. Give background, around what time it was.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys more about it. Just give me a second.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I need to know what year it was. I always forget the year.
I'm weak.
It makes sense if I look it up, because, I don't want to say it wrong. Okay, so this is basically it. So I'm gonna start off the case from, when they did it, or, when,
Well, just everything, Tiffany. This shouldn't be that hard.
Okay, because I'm kind of nervous, because I feel like people will be first of all, you don't know this and this and that, and then this and this and that. Because Kendall Ray gets hated on so much.
Well, we're not Kendall Ray, and look, we're just going off of our opinions of the cases. We're not really ugh. I'm far away from the microphone right now because I'm looking for my glasses, but I can't seem to find them, so we're just gonna deal with it. Whatever. I can't see. It's fine.
Are you looking up your case, or do you know your case by heart?
I just don't know the dates, but I know the case.
Okay, well, I don't know the dates, but I'm gonna say it. Okay, so basically, my case starts off. This is how. Okay, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. My case basically starts off about the Menéndez brothers. I first heard about this case when it became a little series on Hulu, and I remember specifically because I didn't know what it was, because it was the date that it happened was well, they basically killed their parents in 1989, but they were taken to they were arrested in 1990, and then that was when the trial was the 90s. That was a big trial. And at the time, a lot of cases were going on, too. The Rodney King case. That one case was going on, too. So
I don't even know who Rodney King is.
Okay, really? You were so disrespectful out here. She does not know any of the cases.
I'm more into, serial killers and stuff.
Literally, everybody knows who Rodney King is.
It doesn't matter. Keep going with yours.
Okay, either way, My case was basically during that time. Also, the O.J. Simpson case was going on during that time. That's also very
Kim
important.
Kardashian's father.
I thought it was Khloe Kardashian's father.
No, not that, but like her dad was defending. Robert Kardashian was defending O.J. Simpson.
Oh, there's a lot of rumors about that, so I'm not gonna lead into that. Yeah, but so basically, what the case was about was these two brothers. These two, well, they called them was like rich kids, because they were from Beverly Hills, like, and they basically on August 20th they killed their parents. But what had happened was it was a very gruesome murder. Like, do we put like a little thing to say that it's explicit? Because I'm about to like describe it.
It doesn't matter.
Or should I not? Okay, I don't know. This is not to be offended. But what they basically did was, the police came. What they basically did the night that it happened. I'm gonna start off from the night. So they basically called the police. Both of the brothers did, and they were like crying on the phone. They were like, help, someone kill my parents. Someone like come to my house. Like someone kill my parents. They were like crying, and you could hear like Eric, which he's the youngest. He was like in the background, like screaming, crying, and Lyle was the one calling, which he is the oldest. And the police came and they saw that his mother was shot very gruesomely, like she was shot like in her head, and their father was shot just in the stomach area, like if he was standing up to like reach to get the gun, basically.
Like an abdomen?
So, like what?
Like the abdomen?
Yeah, like that. So then the police basically what they did was they took them to the jail center, and they talked to them, and they were like, do you know who could have done this? And at first they said that they were at the movies and they were with a friend, and that the only reason they came back to the house that night, because they left, was to get Eric's ID, because they were going to go to a club with one of Lyle's friends. So
that sounds very realistic.
Yeah, right? It was very realistic.
Like a really good alibi.
Yeah, so, and they also had Lyle's friend to back him up. He was like, yeah, like,
wait, did the friend know about the parents assaulting them?
I'm getting into that. I'm sorry, guys. I coughed right now. I'm sorry. Okay, so basically what had happened was that they told the police that they were all calm, they were collected, except for Eric. Eric was crying, he was doing a lot of that. And then what had happened was their aunt came and got them, and basically the police didn't test them. They were supposed to, but they didn't, because they were like, they wouldn't kill them. It was the 90s. So like, killing your parents wasn't a thing then, you know? So they didn't test them for gunpowder or gun residue, you know? Which you get if you shoot someone.
Yeah.
So they didn't test them for that. So they like, they went on, and a couple days went by, and they were like still looking at like the murder case and everything, and the police was like holding down the area. And what was very suspect of them that started leading them to the police was that basically Lyle and Eric went on a spree. Like they like wasted a lot of their parents' money. Like they two to 3 to 5 days like after their parents' murder, they bought like Rolex watches. Lyle bought a new like car. I don't know if it was what's an expensive car? What's that car?
A Lamborghini
or a Ferrari. It was one of those. He bought one of those with his parents' money. They bought suits, and they bought like little handcuffs.
I don't know how this is what got them caught. Like, how is this? Because not to say like anything, but if my parents had money and like one of them was to pass away, I'd probably go on a shopping spree too.
Well, this is what got them caught, because they were like, who does that after their parents had died?
I mean,
so
I would probably.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I would be too depressed.
I mean, but like shopping can be like a way of releasing your stress.
Yeah, I mean, people are different, so yeah, you're right. So basically, and also, Lyle's friend, mind you, keep this in mind, one of Lyle's friends wanted to go into a restaurant business, and Lyle was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's buy a restaurant. So they bought a restaurant, and when they bought that restaurant, his friend and him just kept, didn't, it was a lot of money. But then the police started looking at their use of money and everything, and they started talking to their family. And they were like, is it kind of weird? Like, did Lyle anything, like, did they ever, like, look into their parents more? And somebody said, well, Lyle and Eric were really mad at their parents because they changed their will. Because before they died, basically the murder victims' names were Jose and Kitty Menéndez. I didn't say that, I'm sorry. But basically Jose and Kitty changed their inheritance. Like, if they were to die, Lyle and Eric would get, like, barely anything. So that's what they thought was why the murder happened. That's why they took them to jail. They thought that since their parents took them out of the inheritance, that they killed their parents because of that. So then one day they arrested them. And when they arrested them, they charged them for the murder of their parents. And while in custody, Eric broke down and he was like, yeah, we did it, this and that. And they were like, well, we're going to take you to court because of it, you know? Because now they have all the evidence, like, he admitted it, you know? So when he admitted that he did it, what they had them charged was a conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder. But some people weren't believing the cause because conspiracy to commit means that there's, like, a plan, you know? Like, it's set. But they literally, shot them, like, at 8 o'clock in Beverly Hills with the windows open. Like, people thought that it wasn't, like, they wanted to do it. It was something had to happen. And basically, they hired a lawyer to help them with their case. And they hired Leslie Aberson? I don't know if that's how you say it. But they hired her. And she was basically their lawyer and everything and like that. And they basically went to trial. And the trial that had happened, a lot of stuff was going on that was, like, not right. Like, basically, the cops, like, they found people to lie against them to get them in jail. Like, they used Lyle's girlfriend to say that she knew that they were going to kill them, like weeks before, like months before, because they were talking about it.
But this wasn't, like, a premeditated, like, killing, right?
Yeah. They didn't think it was like that, but they got her to lie about that. And Leslie, during the trial, because they were camera recordings, you can actually watch this case on YouTube. She basically got her to, like, debunk it. She was like, how would you know this if this wasn't even yet proven? And then she broke on the stand and she said that she wasn't sure and all this. So that was debunked. And then one of the police, like, I would think it's dirty police, but he got to keep his job. He basically paid money to Lyle's friend that Lyle bought a restaurant for to, like, have. He paid that man, the policeman paid Lyle's friend money to say that Lyle wanted to kill his parents, all this and that. Which
I just don't understand, like, why were they so invested in wanting to, like, get them in jail?
Because they felt like they couldn't lose another case. Because they felt like the whole world was against them, and they felt like if they got off, they feel like it would put a bad representation out to the world. Because at that time, O.J. Simpson was let off. Rodney King's, not killers, I'm sorry, he didn't die. Rodney King's, like, abusers, or what's it called?
Oh, Rodney King was the man that got assaulted by the police, right?
Yeah. So basically, they were let off. So that was during the
Okay,
time.
well, then they should have gone back and opened those cases and arrested the 3 police officers.
I know.
That's nobody's fault, but the court's fault.
They didn't think about it like that.
No, fuck them. Fuck, no. That shit, no. Fuck that, no.
It really pissed me off how they handled it, how it was injustice.
You haven't even got to the part of how it's injustice, though.
Yeah, I know. So then, leading on, so they basically corrupted Lyle's girlfriend and Lyle's best friend. Well, ex-best friend, you know. That.
Fuck that best friend. This is what.
And then Eric actually told someone about his sexual assault, and he only told that person because that person was also sexually assaulted. And the police told that man that Eric told, which was a friend, that he should go on the stand and he should say what Eric told him. And he was like, well, I'm going to tell them what he told me about being sexually assaulted. And they told him not to say that part. But that Eric had, like, a meaning to do it. So that did make sense. So then they got one of Eric's friends to lie, and then Leslie found out that it was lying. Basically, she was a really good lawyer because she like debunked everything and like tried to like keep them going, everything like that. And while that happened, they basically Leslie at first, like during the beginning, she was just taking them as a case to like get them off of murder because she was the type of person to like she was on the stand for people to, even if you're guilty, she will represent you. And I watch a lot of Law and Order, and I don't know what the name is, and I'm so mad at myself right now that I don't know what the name is, but I'm keep going. So later she found out from Eric, because Eric was one of the most he was like not kinder, but like
he was more not the
fragile.
weaker one, but he was more like emotional.
Fragile. Yeah, he was fragile. He was like the fragile one, and it makes sense because I'm a lead why he was the fragile one. And she was talking to Eric by himself, and he told her that he was sexually assaulted. And then she went to Lyle and she said, did anything happen that why this would happen? And he told her. And she then got the motive for the murder. She entered in the case for it to be for physical and quote-unquote alleged sexual abuse. That's what she said was the motive of it, why they killed their parents, because their parents physically and sexually abused them. And what had happened was that when they went to trial, the defense did not believe that. They were like, no, that's not it. Like, they killed them because they wanted the money. And so basically Leslie, she looked through family stuff, and she found these pictures, which you can see it. It's like on YouTube, and it was so disturbing. Like, oh, it was these pictures of Eric and Lyle when they were younger, and it was them like it's pictures that a parent would not take of a child. Like, of course, we all have baby pictures, like in the tub, you know, all that. But it was like them when they're like 6 years old, standing up with like Tic Tacs on their parts, you know?
Tic Tacs?
Like Tic Tacs, the ones you put in the wall.
They're not called Tic Tacs.
What are they called?
Something.
Thumbtacks, I'm sorry. Thumbtacks in their parts, like on their parts.
No, that's not. Of course, we all have pictures in the tub, but like that's not. No, you don't fucking do that to anyone, no matter their fucking age.
It's not it. And then they said that is not a photo that a father takes of a child. And the defense was like, well, we don't even know if those pictures were like real or this and that.
What do you mean? It's the fucking 90s.
So then during that time, the pictures got thrown out.
Wow.
And they were not allowed. And a lot of people found it disturbing. But that also helped them. Because it got the people, like the jury to sympathize with them. So, then Leslie brought in people from their family that could, like, say what had happened. And basically, one of their cousins said that when when Lyle was younger, he came into her room, and when she was staying with them, he came into her room. He was like 7 years old, and he was trying to touch her, and she was like 15 at the time, 16, and he was trying to touch her, and she was like, what are you doing? You don't do that. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, are you okay? And he was like, I want to have sex. And she was like, what? And he was like, that's what me and my father do, like this and that. And she looked at him like, what? And that was and then she went to tell her Aunt Kitty, which was Lyle and Eric's mother. And Kitty told her to just shut up about it, to not speak of it. And then that summer was the last time she spent at their house, the cousin. She told her, I don't remember if she told her mom, but I don't think she did. I don't think she told her mom, because Kitty told her to shut up about it. And she testified for them at court that had happened. But the lawyer said that it was only her telling it, so it wouldn't make sense.
Oh, like, but the girlfriend was only telling it. But that makes sense, right?
I know. And then they had another person in their family was where their cousin, their boy cousin, and he was staying the night with them, and he remembered specifically. He didn't tell his mom. I don't think he told his mom.
What's up with these kids not telling their fucking parents?
I don't think he told his mom, or did he? Was he the one that told his mom? No, I don't know. No, yeah, he told his mom? I'm going to say he did, but I'm not sure. No, he did. He told his mom later on in life when the case was happening. But basically, what had happened was, also the cousin, the first one, that was on Kitty's side. This one's on Jose's side. That's their dad. So basically, he was sleeping over their house, and he walked out of his room because he was staying in the guest room, and he saw, before they were going in the bathroom, he saw, they were young. They were like 8, but Lyle was older than Eric, so he was probably like 2 years more. And their cousin saw them going into the bathroom with their father, and he stopped them, and he was like, "What are you guys doing?" And his father was like, "Oh, they're just taking a shower. Like, just go back. Like, we're just gonna go take a shower." And they're just gonna go take a shower. And he was like, "Well, I want to go. Like, where are you guys going?" And his uncle was like, Jose was his uncle, so he said his uncle was just like, "Just go back to your room." Like, and he remembers like seeing Eric's face and like being like something was wrong.
Like petrified.
Like petrified, like that, yeah. And he remembers them going into the bathroom, and he went back to his room. And that's also sucks. But again, they said that was like unresponsive, like that didn't make any sense because they didn't say it didn't make any sense, but they said that only he was there to witness it.
Okay, so Leslie was only there to witness a conversation that's fake.
And then,
no, not Leslie, the girlfriend.
Yeah, the girlfriend. I don't know what her name is. But Leslie tried her hardest, and she did end up getting the cases to be used, like their cousins in there. And basically, they were just going on and on about the case, and they were using a lot of family members. And then finally, the people that went to stand was Lyle. Basically, people like tuned in for that. Like, a lot of people tuned in for his case because it was on the internet. And not internet, but it was on the TV, sorry. And you could see like his emotions when he said it, and it makes this case even more sad. But what had happened was Lyle was talking about his childhood, and he talked about how his father would say that when he was sexually assaulting her, that they were sexually assaulting him, that they were playing a game, and that it's what all men did, and this and that, and it's like something about warriors and what men did in war. And
was his dad in war?
No.
This shit doesn't even make sense.
And so then Lyle basically described his first time being sexually assaulted, all this and that in the case. And he then later described what his father did to him. And I'm not going to say what he just said, but he then said that since he thought that was normal, he took his little brother, Eric, young, out into the woods and did what his dad did to him to Eric. And he was crying on stand, and he was like, "I'm sorry, Eric, like this and that and that." And Eric was like crying like during it, and it was so heartbreaking. And people, basically the defense after that, they stood like right after that, and he was like that they were really good actors, like saying that they were really good at that, like really good at faking it.
Why didn't they just test them?
I don't know, because I don't think lie detectors even a big thing back then.
Not lie detectors. Physically test them.
I'm about to get into that. So then, finally, Leslie said why it happened. Leslie described to the court. At this time, when Leslie was describing it, they were all listening to it, and she basically said that the reason that they killed their parents was for self-defense, because they felt like their parents were going to kill them. And they said this, and then the defense claimed a picture of them like 2 days before on a fishing trip, and they were all smiling. But witnesses on the fishing trip said that Eric and Lyle were away from their parents. They were like, had worried looks on their faces. They didn't want to be by their parents, and that they quickly snapped that picture and went back. And the defense just left that out, but Leslie brought that in. And she said because what had happened was, also during the case, Lyle said that his mother sexually abused him from the age of 12 to 14. she would ask him to come into bed with her. And the thing was, the only people that believed them, Kitty's family did not believe them. Jose's family did not believe them, except for Jose's sister. His sister really believed the boys. She really believed them because she saw how her brother was firsthand. She really believed them, and she was by their side. So then, what had happened was, damn, I lost myself. So basically, Lyle said that his mother did that, and Eric, when he was younger, he also said that his mother knew because he told her one day what his dad was doing, and she told him to shut up about it and to not say anything. Sorry, guys, I'm like, I lost my voice for a second. And that, not to say anything. So then, later on during the case, Leslie would say that, Lyle at the time, he went to college, so nothing was happening to him. Everything was calm, like he was in college, like already. And Eric, during the time of the murder, he was just gonna go into college. He had a girlfriend. He was mentally like getting there, but not fully because like there was no way to really recover, you know. But Lyle, like a week before the murders, he would later come to find out that Eric's dad, well, their dad, was still sexually abusing Eric at the age of like 17. And Eric told his brother, he was like, please believe me, like, I don't like that. I'm just so scared of dad and all this and that. And his brother was like, I believe you, like. And what had happened was, like, 2 days before it, Eric told his dad that he wanted to go to campus. He wanted to live on campus like Lyle does. And his dad said, you're not living on campus. You'll stay for, like, 4 of the days, but you have to come back. And, like, basically in the 7 days in a week, he would only get to stay 4 and had to stay at the house 3. And Eric said that made no sense, and his dad and him got into an argument about it. And his dad, he remembers his dad trying to come into his room, and him locking the door and just, like, shutting it and calling Lyle. So now I'm leading into the murder time. That's what led up to it. Basically, what they did was they purchased guns, but they purchased it for their protections because their parents, they said that their parents, quote unquote, said that the only way that they were going to get out is, like, dead. Like, no other way. And
imagine your mom standing by your dad at that time. Like, imagine your mom knowing, and then her actually doing some of the sexual assault herself. Like, I would never, if my kids ever came to me and were like, my dad is sexually assaulting me, I'm leaving his ass and I'm putting him in jail.
I know. And then,
like, fuck
basically,
no.
It was like,
imagine being so brainwashed by a fucking man.
Yeah, also, she was, like, she was cased as bipolar, she had depression, and she would always be,
do you think she was getting assaulted as well?
Yeah, I'm leading into that. So then their trial was coming to an end. And during that time, their first trial that they went up, it was basically like, it wasn't thrown out, but it was what's it called? It was like, it wasn't a hung jury, because hung jury means that half of them voted with him, half of them didn't. It was like, yeah, it was, sorry, I think it was a hung jury, so they had to go to trial again. They wouldn't let them win. They went to trial again. They would try it again. And during this time, when they were tried a second time, they were broke. They were completely broke because they used all their money for the first trial. And Leslie put in some of her own money and her own time, and she defended them because she cared so much for them that she was like, I don't care, like, I'll defend you, even if you're like, because she was like a real high paid, and like you had to pay her a lot of money for it. Like, she was like one of the biggest in the 90s. But she was like, I'll defend you, because she cared for them and she knew the backstory. So then their second time going again, there was no cameras allowed. It was like basically a quote unquote smooth like case trial. They still had the same judge, which was not good because that judge also didn't like them. You could tell that he didn't like them. Like, really, like, I feel like if you're a judge, you can't have that opinion. Even if, like, you kill, like...
You can't be biased if you're going to be a fucking judge.
Well, he didn't like them, you could tell, basically. And, what had happened was during their second trial that, so basically, when they were going, they basically told them, the judge, I think his name was, like, Stanley Wellsberg, he basically told them that they couldn't use their physical and alleged sexual abuse as a motive. That they couldn't use it. Everything about sexual abuse was thrown out.
Wow.
Also, oh my god, I also forgot. In the beginning of the trial, how they also got caught was that their therapist, Eric had a therapist. Also, this was a big reason why they got caught. Eric's therapist recorded Eric's session where he talked about sexual abuse and how he killed his parents. You can't do that. As a therapist, you can't do that. Like, even if you're a lawyer and your client tells you that they killed someone, you can't do that. You can't tell them. He basically recorded that. And
did the therapist lose his license?
Yes. Eric's therapist basically also was having an affair with a patient, and he told that patient, because he didn't want her to tell his wife about the affair, that if she told, she would get the Menéndez brothers to kill her. Because he knew they were killers.
They're not killers.
No sense why he would say that. He just didn't want her to tell his wife about the affair. So then what she did, in retaliation, she took the tapes and gave them to the police. So she would feel safe again.
So it's her fault.
Kind of, yeah. But I mean, he shouldn't have recorded it. And Eric literally went to him because he felt, like, depressed and he felt off of it and, like, he couldn't go to Lyle.
At that point, I'd kind of just be like, I would just be over it.
He literally, that's also it. I forgot about that. That was a big part. I forgot about that, I'm sorry. But then their second trial. Let me go to their second trial. Their second trial, during their second trial, they told them that they couldn't use the sexual abuse as a case. So they had to go and they just had to fight for, like, not getting charged with first-degree murder and all of this. And when they were doing that, it was a new jury, everything. And basically, Leslie had information that from their family, from their aunt, that Jose had been sexually abused by his mother when he was younger. And it makes sense because it would add into, like, they usually say it's not true. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not true, but I mean, it's not logical.
That the cycle keeps on going.
The cycle keeps on going. It's not logical, but...
it happens a lot.
It happens a lot, but it's not, like, 100% true. But, and then they found out that Kitty had been sexually abused by a family member, too. I don't know if it was, like, an uncle or, like...
It was probably an uncle. It's always an uncle.
I think it was an uncle that sexually abused her. So... they told them this, and Leslie said, I'm sorry, I can't use it. Like, they don't let me. Like, they didn't let her use it. And then finally, during their second trial, they were convicted with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. And they were sentenced to life without parole. And they were also, one of their sentencings was that they cannot be in the same prison together. So... they haven't seen each other since, like, their conviction.
They're still alive?
They're still alive. They're still, I'm not sure how old they are. Let me look up how old they are.
Eric was, 18 when he was convicted?
Yeah, he was, 18. So, let me look up Eric's age. I know they're both, still in jail, of course, but I don't know how old they are.
I think they deserve a new trial.
Eric's 49 years old.
49?
Yeah. And Lyle's 51.
I think they deserve a new case. I think they deserve a new trial, new judge, new jury.
They motioned for that because a lot of people were into the case because it was a freshly new case. Everybody was they should, but they haven't. Cause
even the podcast Serial, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but Miss Theo played it for us, and the first season is all about a case with Adnan Syed. He was convicted of killing his girlfriend, but there's not enough evidence, so he's getting a new trial.
Good for him to get a new trial.
Yeah, he got convicted when he was 17. But that's not the case that I'm going to be talking about today. And it's not really a case. And it's not really true crime. But, oh my God, looking up what Jeffrey Dahmer is related to the Black Dahlia. Damn. Okay, so Jeffrey Dahmer, if you guys don't know him, he's an American serial killer. He was born May 21st, 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Was it Wisconsin?
I don't know.
Wherever Milwaukee is. They called him the Milwaukee Monster. So his name is Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, right? When he was growing up, he wasn't like sexually assaulted or anything like that, but the only thing that sets Jeffrey Dahmer apart from like other serial killers is that he was actually like he could be empathetic. Like, he knew the right from wrong. Unlike Ted Bundy, unlike H.H. Holmes. Like, he actually, like, he would get blackout drunk.
Yeah.
To like, be able to kill someone. So, it all started with, when he was growing up, they moved into this house, and his dad was cleaning the bottom part of the house, like under the house, and they found like dead animal bones. So Jeffrey got really intrigued with that, and then he took that into his teens, where he was like going through puberty at the same time of being curious of like the insides of animals. So it didn't mix well. Yeah. He was curious about how the human body looked on the inside, and throughout high school, he wasn't bullied per se, but he was also homosexual. But he was trying to fight it. So in high school, kids would make him their muse, and Jeffrey liked the attention. That's like the only part that like made his high school. But like, his mom was a drug addict. She abused a lot of things. I'm so bad at this. Like, whenever... She abused a lot of... substances. She abused a lot of substances. And she would just... Okay, so her abusing substances is what led to the divorce of his parents. So, he was very upset. So, he started drinking. He had a very big drinking problem. Like, he would go to school and be drunk. He would go to school and, like, have a styrofoam cup and be like, this girl asked him, there was, like, in his class, was like, what's in your cup? And he was like, this is my medicine. Like, I guess the way that he coped with everything going on at home and in his mind and everything. And this was before the killings. He, would cope with just drinking a shit ton of alcohol. Just to, like, make that everything fade away. And I kind of understand where he's coming from when he was drinking alcohol, but I would rather him like smoke some marijuana. Right? Get through it. Don't fuck up your liver. Fuck up your lungs. But he would just he was a kid that was very misunderstood. He was just like, I think he really just needed somebody to care for him and understand his mind. Like, yeah. Like, I don't think the killings would have happened if he just had a friend. Like, a real friend. Like, because his mom left. And then his dad was never really around until towards the end. So Jeffrey accidentally killed this dude. Do you know his name?
Who, the guy that he killed?
The first guy.
No, but I know he was, what do they call it?
A hitchhiker.
Not hitchhiker.
Yeah, okay, well, I don't know the first victim's name, but it was like after Jeffrey graduated from high school. He was just driving around, and what's it called? So he saw this hitchhiker. The hitchhiker got in the car. He basically asked if he wanted to go back to his place and like drink and stuff, and the hitchhiker was like, yeah, sure. So they went back to his place. Like, keep in mind, nobody was home because his dad wasn't there, and his dad didn't know that like his mom had left.
What do you mean?
Like, he didn't know because the mom told Jeffrey not to tell his dad that she was leaving. But not so Jeffrey would stay by himself, just because she didn't want him to know that she was gonna go to her mom's house.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. So confusing. But Jeffrey was like, okay, so he invited this dude over to his house, and he somehow convinced him to like have sex with him. So like he did, and then the dude wanted to go home. Like, he wanted to like go where he was gonna go before everything. And Jeffrey, like, he was already like I don't know if he was blackout drunk, but he was really intoxicated. So he killed him, and then he realized what he had done. So he chopped his body up and tried to dispose of it. Like, he crushed up all the bones. And yeah. And that was the first killing. But he didn't go like on a killing spree like after that. Like, he kind of chilled. And he went to like the military. And then he got kicked out of the military for drinking so much. And then he went back and lived with his grandma. And then at his grandma's, this dude, he went to a bar. He was getting better. He went to a bar. I don't know. Was it a bar? It was somewhere. It was somewhere. He went somewhere, and this dude slipped him a note and was like offering him money for sex. Right? So Jeffrey like declined it. But that initiated again in his head that like, I want to have submissives. I want to be in full control of you. Like, I want you to like kneel down to me. So like, he was a really handsome guy. So he would start going to gay bars. And he would like lower guys. And then he would give them the sleeping. I don't know what it was. It was something to put you to sleep. So he would lower them to his grandma's house. And he would have sex with them. And then it was the second guy that he killed. He had sex with him, and he didn't have any intentions on killing him. He just had the intentions of like fucking him and then waking up and dipping. Because he would do that a lot. He would just have sex with them and then dip before they even they woke up. But then he accidentally woke up one morning, and he was still in bed, and his hand was all bruised. And there was a dangling body of the dude that he had killed, but he didn't have any memory of it. But he was like, I must have killed him. My hand is bruised. He's dead. So like, yeah, at first, I mean, what he was doing wasn't right. Like, yeah, he was fucking guys and leaving them, but it's not like he fucked them without consent.
Why did he drug with them?
Because he wanted submissives.
Oh.
Him to be in full control. And after that, it kind of just initiated the fact that, like, oh, I can do this. But he didn't kill them in gruesome ways. He had a very specific plan of how to kill everyone. So he would always drug them and then choke them. Well, strangle them. And then after they're dead, then he does whatever he does to your body. He would have sex with dead corpses. He would...
necrophilia.
Yeah. He tried to make a zombie. He would insert acids in their brains. None of them ever lived more than a day.
Zombies.
Yeah. But then they would die. And then there was this one time. The first time he got caught. I don't remember who it was. I think, was it the 14-year-old boy, or is that the time that he got fully caught?
I'm not sure.
Ugh, I don't know why I keep on asking you. Okay, you're supposed to have knowledge on this case too, Tiffany.
I don't know the case like that.
Okay, so yeah, he got caught. Oh yeah, he got caught for molesting or trying to molest someone. I think it was a younger boy though. It wasn't like an older kid. I think he was like 14. But he was younger. And so he got caught for wanting to molest him. So he went to jail. He was sentenced to jail for 12 months. And like the week before like his sentencing, he would like go to work because he worked at a chocolate factory. He would go to work and have the head of one of his corpses wrapped in his like locker, like mummified. Yeah, because he was so attached to them. Like he loved them, but he just didn't want them to leave him. I mean, he could have just got a boyfriend, you know, a submissive boyfriend.
I mean, I don't know.
He could have just done that. Yeah, and then he went to jail and he was only there for, I believe, like 10 months. So I guess he got off on like good behavior. And then he got out and went on a killing spree. And there was this boy, he was 14. I don't know if this was before or after he got arrested, but the boy woke up while Jeffrey was buying more alcohol. And he ran out. He was fully naked. And a neighbor saw him and called the police. And then Jeffrey was coming home and they were about to question him. But Jeffrey was a really good liar. He was charming. So he was like, yeah, that's just my boyfriend. He's just a little too drunk. So they returned the boy, the 14-year-old boy, back to Jeffrey. And then he proceeded to kill him. And Jeffrey had this ritual of watching Exorcist 3 before he would kill anyone. It would like get him in the mood.
What?
Yeah. It would like get him in the mood to kill. Yeah, and then he got caught because one of the victims got away and saw a police car and told him. It was like he has photographs of people. But the reason he took the photographs, even though this is fucked up and demented, he would just be like, they're just all so beautiful and I wanted to see them before like anything like bad happened to their body. Like, yeah, he's fucked in the head, but he's kind of sweet. Like, yeah. And then he got convicted for like 200 something years in prison.
Did he die?
Yeah, that he got stabbed in jail in the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, he was fucked in the head.
So he didn't even live out his prison sentence?
Nope.
He wouldn't have either way, 200 years.
Yeah. But, I mean, when he talks about it, at least he's different.
What do you mean?
Like, when you listen to Ted Bundy talk about the murders, he didn't care. He didn't care about the women. He belittled women. He basically just saw them as objects that he wanted to kill.
Yeah.
Like, but like hearing like Jeffrey talk about it, it's kind of like he was just I'm just saying, bro, if he just had someone who cared about him, this wouldn't have happened. And that's what with Ted Bundy, I don't know. I don't know.
Ted Bundy didn't have he had somebody, didn't he?
He had people.
He was very charming apparently and popular and all this and that.
Yeah, Jeffrey just needed a friend who would understand him and talk to him about what's going on. Not call him weird. Physically just be there for him. But he was just different because he knew right from wrong. That's why he blacked out all the time before he was about to kill somebody, so he wouldn't remember it. But at least he owned up to it. When he got caught, he admitted to all of them. Ted Bundy didn't admit to it until before he was about to get killed.
Yeah, he didn't admit to it.
Yeah, Ted Bundy was no, and you guys, he was laughing at people. Oh my god, you're really using your rainbow loom right now.
Sorry. Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh my god, I remember my rainbow loom. Yeah, but it's just that, the Jeffrey Dahmer case. That one fucks with my head. Do you have another case?
I know by heart. I don't know. Menéndez ones that I know by heart. That one's my case that I go to. But I know, not really. I don't really know serial killer ones. I don't.
They don't have to be serial killer ones. They can be whatever. Hate crimes, whatever.
I don't. Hate crimes. I don't know any that I can think of right now.
The one that you told me the other day?
Oh, the exonerated 5?
Yeah.
Oh, that one's long. I think I could tell it. I just need to I have it me. So basically, the Central Park, that's not what they're called, sorry, it's the exonerated 5 because they're not called the Central Park 5 anymore because it was that name is something that was given to them. They chose the exonerated 5 because it's them.
It's empowering them.
It's empowering them. The name the Central Park 5 was given to them to belittle them. So basically what the Central Park 5 case, but the exonerated 5 case, is about a case about the Central Park jogger. And it was about the woman who was sexually assaulted in New York City when she was going to jog. And her name is, I need to look up what her name is because I don't want to say her name wrong. I don't, hold up. I gotta look at it. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at this and I don't know the case.
I just want to say that this case is all types of fucked up and I hate humanity.
Let me get the jogger's name because I don't want to say her name. Do they not have her? It's they're not putting her name out there. It's oh, okay. Her name is Trisha, no, I don't know if that's right. Okay, but basically what she was, she was, during this time, there was, basically, let me start over, okay? Here it goes. So, basically, the exonerated 5 is about, a woman who was sexually assaulted in, the park in New York City, and her name was, Trisha Mell, and she was sexually assaulted in Manhattan Central Park, during, nighttime, and this case happened in 1989. And during the time, basically, she was out jogging at night like she regularly did, and last thing she remembered was getting hit on the head. And the last thing she remembered is getting hit on the head, but then the other thing she remembered was waking up to the hospital. So she was sexually assaulted, violently sexually assaulted. And the what basically happened during that time was also that young men. It was not only the exonerated five that were there. There were other boys that were there, but it was basically a community of Latinos and African Americans. They were at the park and they were just there to like go like hang out because what else is there to do? Like just go to the park. Like they said that was a regular thing. And the oldest boy that was convicted was 16. The youngest was 13 or 14. It was one of those. And what had happened was that they all went to the park one day, and they all basically, since the police were there for the jogger case, they heard from people about who was there. And it's New York City, so everybody like knows each other. Like in the area, they knew each other. So they found out who was at the park, and they took them in to talk. And when they were taken in to talk, they basically didn't tell the boys that they had rights, and they spoke to them without their parents there, which is illegal because you
can't the whole case just be thrown out?
No, they didn't follow by that. Basically, I feel like
because if the police don't tell you your rights when they're arresting you, the whole case is thrown out.
I feel like they didn't follow that suit. Not they didn't read them their amendment rights, but they didn't know what that was. Like, I mean, at 13, did you know what the amendment rights were? Like,
yes.
Did you? I didn't.
Plead the fifth. You don't have to speak. You don't have to speak to them. You can wait for your lawyers. You could literally just be like, I'm gonna wait for my lawyer.
No, and then you're also, if you're under the age of 18, they cannot speak to you without your parent present. So they spoke.
Then the whole case should have been thrown out because none of them are over 18.
They didn't follow,
fuck them.
Like, they didn't follow by the rules, but
it's called injustice because they are African American and Latin.
They all were talked to, and basically they were putting stuff in their head. They were like, "So, why did you do that to that woman?" And they were like, "Woman? What woman? What are you talking about?" And they were like, "You know what I'm talking about? Like, you and your buddies, you did this and that." And they were like, "What? Are you trying to set me up? Like, what?"
I would have been like, "Fuck no, baby," and I would have got the fuck up out of there.
And so basically, when they were doing that, they did not allow the parents to see the kids.
What the hell?
Their parents did not know. They really didn't know. Like, they didn't know what to do. They couldn't afford lawyers. They couldn't do anything. They were like, "Just let me see my child," and they were like, "Not yet."
Of course, they're gonna target minorities to be able to pin a case on them simply because the woman was white, right?
Yeah, she was white, but at the same time, she was assaulted.
No, she was assaulted, right? I honestly believe that, and it's not her fault at all. Yeah, it's not her fault at all. But you know how the court case system is.
Yeah.
They see it could have been a white man who did it, but it wouldn't have mattered because there was these kids in the area at the time. And it's so much easier to pin minorities instead of going through the whole system and actually figuring out who did this to that poor woman.
Yeah, ma? So then, basically what had happened was, they told their parents they couldn't talk. So Corey Wise, one of the main people in the case, he basically went down there to help a friend because they were telling him to go in. And he went in with his friend, and they basically was like, "Hey, were you at the park?" And he was like, "Yeah, I was at the park." And they were like, "Well, let's talk to you." And they basically corrupted his
story.
His story. And Corey was so young, he didn't know. He was like, "Yeah, I did it. I did it. Like, he just, like, believed them. And then the police told the parents that they were arresting them because they were a part of it. They did it. So, and the kids' parents didn't know what to do. They were, like, legit. They went to trial. They went for everything. And once they went to trial, one of the kids' parents was like, "Say you did it." they'll let you out. Like, just say you did it. And they were young, they didn't know. So then basically all that happened. I don't really know the story like that, but I know that.
Did they all plead guilty?
They all did not plead guilty. They all went to trial, and they all were sentenced guilty without evidence, without any of that.
I just don't understand what's wrong with these people and just not testing the body.
Yeah, Mom. Okay, in 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, so what was I talking about? The case?
Yeah.
Okay. So then basically they all went to trial, and they all were given guilty without proper evidence. They found DNA on her, but none of the DNA matched the boys.
And that shit doesn't even make fucking sense.
And basically when they did that, they were all sentenced. They all went to juvenile, juvie, basically, except for Corey. Corey was, by the time the case happened, he was sentenced to real prison. So when he went to real prison with all the inmates, he was held there, and he was not being treated okay, all this and that. And his case was more sad. It was more depressive because it had more to it, but I just don't know it like that. And I'm sad that I don't know it like that because it's so much more. And not sad, I feel bad that I don't know more like that. Well, okay. So then they all went to their years, and they all stayed there for years on years on years. One of the boys' mother died in jail, and they wouldn't let him out to see her. You're allowed, if somebody in your family dies while you're in jail, that you can sign up for it. ¿Qué? Oh, okay. All of the family was going through that, and during that time, their faces were released, and their faces weren't allowed to be released.
By the one and only Donald Trump. Yes, President Donald Trump. Mm-hmm.
He, wrote in newspapers, he was they should be executed for what they did, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And
our president, our wonderful president.
He still hasn't apologized to them. The boy said that they never got an apology. He literally paid money out of his pocket for newspapers to write for them.
Of course.
And
all hail President Trump.
So basically, the boys finally, slowly, each and one of them were released, except for Corey. Corey was tried as an adult.
Wait, so they all lived out their trials? Their sentence?
Yeah. Except for... No. Yeah, because... Okay, so there's 1, 2...
There's 5.
5 of them.
Come on.
Corey was still in jail when he found out. So was another one. His name was... the one that was still in jail was Antron, but he was in jail for another thing that he committed. I think he... I don't remember what he did, but he was committed again. I think he, stole. But you can tell that he stole, but he was, really depressed. He didn't really know what was going on. He talked about it. He said that when he did that, he lost himself. He didn't know anything but jail because he grew up in it. But he lived out his sentence and went back in. And the other 3 lived out their sentence. So they all went to jail. But since Corey was tried as an adult, he got more time than all of them. Because apparently he was the ringleader.
Yeah.
And all the boys had a great, bright future. I'm going to tell you more into that later on, because it's more sad. So, and then basically later on, they would find out Corey met this guy in jail. His name was, what was his name that he met in jail? Because he met some man in jail. It was this, his name was Menéndez. That was his name. That's who Corey met in jail. And Corey met him when Menéndez was just he was he argued with him once, and then he met him again. He was like, hey, what are you in here for? And Corey told him, he was like, just this, but I didn't do it, And then Menéndez at the time, he basically, he found a meaning in God and all this and that. And also, by the way, the Central Park, the assault, basically what they didn't even think about putting in the trial was that during that time there was a high case of rape for women in that same area, but they didn't think it linked to each other.
Mm-hmm.
By a man. And it was the same way, like he would beat them half to death. But they didn't think it would link to each other. So then when Menéndez saw him, he was just like, he believes in God now. So then he went to the people and he said, I think he's been wrongfully committed because, and they were like, how would you know that? And he was like, because I was the one that did it. They didn't believe him. And so he was like, no, take my DNA. Like, I'm being like, I did it. Like, they didn't believe him. So then they finally took his DNA and they tested it, and they realized that also, when the jogger, when she got assaulted, right after her, Matthias went to jail, and that's when the rape stopped in the area. But they thought since they got the boys that that's what led them to stop, you know?
Yeah.
So they tested his DNA and found out that his DNA connected with the jogger case. His DNA was the only one on it. So they later would come to exonerate them. They exonerated Corey, and they told the boys that their names would be freshly slate. They were like in their 20s by that point, or their 30s, and their names would be like restated. And they were actually, people don't know this, but they were actually really exonerated in the early 2000s, but they didn't get a lot of press for that. They didn't even get money from the city to, like, they gave them money, but it was, like, not enough. Like, people think they should have got more. They gave them, like, 1,000 something.
Oh, fuck no. They should have got way more than that.
A few thousand. And they also said that the money didn't really go for them because they also had to pay for their attorneys that they used for the court case and all this.
No, they should have covered it. Because the police, instead of really investigating the fucking case, they just wanted to blame somebody and get it over with. Yeah. So no, the state should pay for all the fucking attorneys and give them money to restart their fucking life.
I know. And
because didn't they make people lose? Didn't one of them have like a scholarship or something?
Yeah, one of them had a scholarship to go into music. Like he was, all of them. I'm about to go into that. And basically also Corey physically, like, he lost himself. Like, he went crazy because he was in solitary a lot of his time. Because a lot of people wanted to, like, mess with him. He was in solitary, and when you're in solitary by yourself, you lose your mind completely. And he lost his mind completely, he said, like, somehow, and he just wasn't the same person.
Man, shout out to that dude, though.
Yeah, shout out to him, bro. And
for taking up for his own fucking actions, bro. Shout out to him, bro.
And basically, when they were released in like 2000 something, and basically how everybody found out about it now is because of the Netflix thing. You know, When They See Us, everybody watched that. It was more, I recommend to watch it. It was really sad. I cried at the last one because it was really, like, you could see their actual struggle and like everything. You could really see it. And basically what happened was they went on this thing, and they said that they were doing a trial, like, to get more money from the state because they all are, like, broken. They all feel broken. Like, they feel completely broken. Like,
they should pay for their therapy.
Like, they feel like...
They should... No, the state is not doing fucking enough. I don't care, bro. No. You don't wrongfully convict somebody... You don't wrongfully, like, put somebody in fucking jail because you didn't feel like doing your job to the fucking fullest. If the DNA didn't match, then they didn't fucking do it.
Yeah, exactly. But and then
don't they have a whole database where they have everybody's DNA?
Not during that time.
Well, fuck them.
90s.
Fuck them.
At that time, no, I don't think they had, like, a database.
Well, they should have checked the fucking prison thing, and then they should know. You don't... I'm so tired of, like, the system taking, like, innocent people in and fucking up their lives.
I didn't really know that one that much, but I knew that one like that. I remember another one, but, like, we're getting too in. This is a lot. I remember another one. That's the one I should have said right now because I really know that one.
What about them going on the Ellen thing that you told me about?
No, they went on Oprah.
Oh, Oprah. Wrong person.
Oprah. Yeah, Oprah did their thing, and they were talking about it, and we just were talking about, like, also I would recommend that one. That one's really sad because they were talking about how they were broken and how, like, one of them was like, I'm broken, like, I lost my faith in God, and, like, I hate my father because he was the one that his father was like, just say you did it, they'll let you off. And another one was like, I lost my mother during my time in jail, like, I can never repay, like, I can never get those years back and all this and that. And Corey especially was like, he was like, the woman, okay, so basically a woman, she was disbarred from her lawyer position this year. Well, this year. Because she basically was one of the main ones that sent them to trial without any evidence and all this and that.
Well,
literally, Netflix documentary got everybody to speak about it because she should have been disbarred in like 2000.
But no, because the justice system doesn't care about minorities.
Yeah.
And that's fucked. And that's so fucked up because it's just like fuck, bro. People get wrongfully committed every day, and we don't have a Kim Kardashian to come fucking get us out of fucking jail.
Yeah.
Like
that one was really sad.
I can't even fathom what their parents were feeling, what they were feeling. Like their lives were just started. Like if I would have got fucking sent to prison at 13 for a crime that I didn't commit, I would go crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Because especially if I didn't commit it. Like if I got caught for something I did do, like okay, I'm paying time for something I committed. But if I got wrongfully committed, like that's just like, it makes you question everything.
Yeah. Because
it makes you question the government. Like it just... Ugh. Oh my god, the justice system is so fucked. Like, we're over here talking about, like, okay, so in school we're talking about the Salem witch trials. Mm-hmm. Right? And we like to say that, oh my god, we've grown so much. Like, oh my god. But, like, the witches were wrongfully committed and hanged. And they weren't even witches.
I remember one of their statistics was, like, if you tie bricks to them and they would like, okay.
You know, you don't have to pause it every single time, right? That's just gonna fuck.
Okay. Well, I guess it's not. Okay. But, no, I know. It was a thing where, like, if you would tie, like, cement to them and then they would float, they were witches, but if they would sink, they were normal.
And none of them floated, I bet.
Yeah, none of them floated.
The only one that admitted to witchcraft was Tituba. But there's no real evidence. It's just... She probably just wanted to get off.
Probably.
Like, everyone else died pleading not guilty. Like... But we want to say that we changed so much. It's like America. Like, this justice system is better. But then shit like this happens where they don't test DNA. They don't really, like, no. Fuck that and fuck the justice system. Because it's fucked altogether. Like, and those boys deserve more than... The money that Donald Trump invested to get their faces put on newspapers... He should invest that money and give money to them.
Yeah, but they never got money.
Well, they fucking should. And they deserve a fucking public apology from Donald Trump. Yeah. Our wonderful president.
They did get a public apology from the state. They stand together. They say they're brothers, which makes sense. I mean...
You've gone through this whole thing together, like...
Yeah.
But no.
And Corey had it the worst, they say, and they all didn't know Corey had it the worst because he held it in the most, and they found out he had it the worst.
Especially being men in this society, you have to pretend that you're together.
Yeah. You
can't break down, and that's what it sucks. Like, I can't imagine being a man in a society, especially a Latin or African American man. Like, they get it the worst. Because, you know, females are still belittled.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? It's not equal. females can do anything, basically. With sob stories, like recently, I don't know the name, I don't know the case, I don't know anything. But I saw it on Instagram. A Caucasian female accused a black man of raping her. There's no evidence, and there's really nothing to prove that he did it.
Mm-hmm.
But he still was convicted in jail and is now in jail for him, quote unquote, raping her.
I didn't hear that one.
I heard it. It was on Instagram. And I read it, but it was a while ago. And it, like, infuriates me. So I always tell my friends, especially my African-American friends, I just tell them to be careful. Because one wrong move, and you could get fucked.
Yeah.
Get Out is a real movie. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You better get the fuck out.
No, I do know. Yeah, we've been doing this for so long. I didn't realize how long this has been going on. I was about to say another one, but I was like, no, this is too long already.
Which one?
It was the Khalif Browder story. That one really hurt my heart.
I don't know it, so go ahead.
That one really.
We can just cut out the parts that I did, because they're kind of...
What?
They're kind of not even important. Like...
You're good. You have to leave the Jeffrey Dahmer one. You have to leave the Jeffrey Dahmer one.
I'll leave the Jeffrey Dahmer one, but I was already going to cut out the parts of me talking about the boy in the box.
Okay, with the Khalif Browder story, it was picked up by Jay-Z. It's on Netflix. I watched it, and it was so sad. I watched it so many times. Like, it's so sad. But,
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I would watch it.
I don't like looking at, like, true crime. Like, serial killers, they get their time, right? They get their time in jail. Most of them die in jail. Most of them have the death penalty. So, like, justice is served. But when it comes to, like, true crime cases, like, unsolved murders, or, like, when people are wrongfully, like, put in jail, like, it's like you can't reverse time.
Yeah,
it give them back what they deserve.
Well, basically, the Khalif Browder story was basically, I don't know if I said his last name right, but I think it was so sad. It was a Netflix documentary. It's still on there. Hopefully it's still on there. If it's not, then I'll watch it on somewhere else, because I always watch it. It was basically about this young man. He was, I don't have my computer, so this information might not be right. My computer died. But this information, some of it might not be right, because I really don't remember that well, because I haven't seen it in so long. What had happened was this young man, Khalif Browder, he basically was walking at night. It was New York. It happened in New York. He was walking at night with his friends, and literally, he said he got stopped by the police, and he felt like it was a normal thing, like it always happened. And he saw that it was someone in the car pointing, and the policeman said, "Is that him?" And the man was like, "Yeah." So they arrested him.
Did they tell him why he got arrested?
No, he was so confused. And they arrested him, and when they put him there, they told him that the man that pointed him out said that he was the one that stole his brother's backpack filled with electronics. I don't remember what electronics was, but it was a lot of money worth of electronics. And
that little brother probably stole them electronics, got his bank up, and called it a day. But they didn't want to say he sold them.
So basically, what had happened was, when that happened, they took him, and his mother found out, and she thought that he was arrested for something else, but no, it was just that. And she asked him, he was like, "Did you do that?" He was like, "No, I didn't do that. I don't even know who that kid is. Like, I never saw that in my life." So then, they, basically, his mother did not have money to bail him out, because she didn't have money like that. She didn't have money at all like that. And, she, couldn't bail him out, so he had to go to Rikers Island till his trial. And if you don't know, Rikers Island is, a jail in New York, and it is one of the worst jails. Like, it has been under corruption, it's been under everything. Like, it's one of the worst jails there. And, basically, it's, like, very violent, and it's, like, where you go if you don't have, like, money, like, to, like, go to a nice jail for holding. So, he went
a nice jail.
I know, like, a nice jail. Like, if you're rich, basically. But,
Imagine a society that puts more money into jails than schools.
and then he went there, and basically, I have to tell the story so quick, and I don't like that I have to tell this because I love the story.
Don't tell it quick. It's okay. This podcast can be long. It's okay.
Okay, so basically, he went to Rikers Island, and when he went there, he was just like, he was normal, he was calm, like, and he basically, during this documentary, he talks, because he, at the time, was still alive, so during the I'm gonna lead into that. So at the documentary, he was talking about it, he's talking to them, he's like...
Wait, did he die of natural causes?
I'm leading into it. So basically what had happened was, he talked to them, the camera crew, and he was like, yeah, Rikers Island, I'm not a violent person at all. And, like, everybody that knew him said he was the kindest person, and that the baddest thing he did was snuck out to go to a party.
Me.
And that one girl, like, remembers him for his kindness, because she remembers that she was, like, that was his friend, like, you gotta remember her, because she used to send letters to him, and he would send letters to her. And they were like, that was like her best friend. And she said that he was the first boy to look at her that like, and didn't look at her flaws. Because she said that she was overweight and he told her that she was beautiful and all this and that. And they would text, they would not text. They would send letters to each other. He was like so sweet.
When he was in jail?
Yeah, they would send letters to each other. She would always send letters to him. And that she sent him letters. She remembers sending him letters in red ink because she loved red ink. And he told her that she had to stop that because they were thinking like he was like a part of that. And she remembers seeing a change in his letters, like how he was like more like not himself, like not the sweet guy. Like it's not that he became mean; it's that he became more like.
Cause jail fucks you up.
Yeah, and basically he said during the documentary, he said that he had to learn how to fight because they started with him because they asked him. He was like, because during jail, they told him that if he's going to like get with the program or not get with the program. And I remember this specifically, and I'm so happy that I remember how it went. It was get with the program or don't get with the program. And basically, even the police correction officers know what the program is. The program was basically that he had to like buy stuff and give it to them, or like like get somebody to buy it and give it to you, like be basically like their servant. And he wasn't getting with the program, and he told them that. So if you're not with the program, they beat you and they send you to another area in Rikers. And if you're not with the program there, they beat you and they send you to another area in Rikers. So basically that's what the program is. And he was never with the program. He wasn't about to lead. He wasn't about to go with them. He wanted to stick to himself and just go to his trial date. And the first time he said he wasn't with the program, they also put in the documentary the man that got in his first fight with him, basically showed on camera visual of Khalif getting into a fight. And you can see the correction officer look at them and then walk away. And I think 2 of them walked away. And then they had in writing his statements telling them, like, you can hear in his voice cracking. He was like, they hit me, this and that, like, they told me this and that. Like, you can see him cracking. Like, he wrote statements saying that happened. And they were, like, beating him. Like, they were really hitting him. And he was always fighting back. He was always trying to, like, stick up for his own. And then one time, I don't really remember it that well because I haven't seen it, but like, I remember this one day. One fight happened, and it was that a whole gang of guys got on him, and they started hitting him. The correctional officers could have done something, but they didn't. They were like holding them back, but barely. They could have done something more, and then they just threw him in a room and away from them, and tried to hold back the guy. And Khalif, legit in the camera thingy, you can see him go on his knees and start crying because he was like broken, like he was done with it. So then the inmates somehow broke into the room and like started beating on him more, and he started getting on it. And then the correctional officer pulled him away. And instead of getting on the inmates, they sent him into solitary. And in solitary, basically what had happened was he stayed there for a while. His mind started to like fade. And mind you, during this time, the people that said that he stole their backpack, they left the country. So nobody was even filing them. But they didn't drop the charges. So they said since they didn't drop the charges that he still could be held accountable even if they weren't in the country. went to trial, and the judge lady that took him, she was wrong. She did something wrong with his case, but they still kept going. So it hit a year finally, and he was still in jail, and his mother didn't have the bail money, and she was saving up, she was doing everything. And
you know how much the bail was?
Like a couple thousand. And then once she finally had the money saved up, they told her that she couldn't take him out, that he had to go for his trial. So then 2 years hit, he's been in solitary, and there's one video of him where he was in, there's one video of him where he remembers specifically, he was talking about it, he said that he asked the correctional officer, like, where am I going? And the correctional officer said something back to him that was like, that right? And then he was like, what? And then the correctional officer was like, are you talking back to me? And he was like, no, I'm just asking this, but he had a strong voice. And the correctional officer, you could see in the video, like, he did not do anything. Like, he was standing, like, he was right by him. He legit beat him to the ground and, like, held him. And he started getting on him. And then Khalif was, like, squirming because, like, he didn't know why he was on him. So then, so when that had happened, he was sent into solitary for, like, getting hit by a correctional officer between him. And while he was sent to solitary, he testified. He was like, look, like, I just want to get out of here. Like, if I say I did it, can I get out of here? And they were like, they didn't let him say he did it. And they said he had to go to trial. So
he was like their muse.
Basically, I don't know.
Because he wouldn't give in, so they wanted to keep him in. So, this fucking, I hate, New York, no. Mm-mm.
He started to, like, lose himself. The documentary is more sad. It's, like, it says it all. It's, like, 5 episodes, and it's 40 minutes each, and it's, like, it has more. But, basically, he, his 3rd year in for, quote-unquote, stealing a backpack, which you can't even get that much for stealing a backpack.
You can maybe get, like, 6 months.
Literally. So he did 3 years.
He should have just fucking pled guilty, bro. I never say a person should plead guilty, but if they're keeping you in for that long and you're getting beat...
He said he wasn't pleading guilty for something that he didn't do, and
I mean, good for you, but
basically, when that had happened, he basically he tried to hang himself in jail because he was done. He tried to hang himself in jail, and the police officer came in, got him out of it, and then Khalif said that when he did that. When he was hanging himself, the correctional officer stood out of the window and watched him. He was, like, telling him, do it, you're not going to do it. And he did it. And then he went and cut him down. And then, I don't know how it happened, but the police officer started hitting him inside his jail cell.
Imagine not wanting to lose your muse that much that you push him to commit suicide and then go and cut him down and then beat on him.
And then when they were beating on, I don't remember why they beat on him. I don't remember what had happened. When that happened, Khalif remembers running out to where the cameras were, because there's no cameras in the room. He ran out to where the cameras were outside of the thing, so he could make sure that the cameras saw. And he's
smart.
They beat him outside of the cameras, and they said it was because he was running. But he legit remembers. During the documentary, he was like, I ran out so the cameras could see me, because there's no cameras there. And they put him in solitary, and he couldn't talk to his mom. And when he was in solitary, basically what had happened was they finally listened to his thing, or something had happened, and I don't remember what specifically had happened, but they let him out. I don't remember how they let him out. I don't remember that specifically. I feel so bad that I don't remember, but he got let out of Rikers Island. And when he was let out, he felt empty. Like, he felt lost. Like, in the video, when he was talking about it, they were like, are you any better? He was like, no, like, I'm not. Like, I'm lost. Like, this, like, you could really see it. I started crying, like, how you see him.
All of this shit for a stupid backpack.
Like, I started crying. I don't cry for anything, you know? Really him. He was saying it. He was like saying how depressed he was. Like, you could see it. He said he was lost, and then people were like saying he lost his smile, and he did. And that he, ever since coming out of jail, his mother said that he started hitting the walls, and that he was just all caught up, and that he felt like he was still there, like he had the same mindset. And I don't remember specifically why they let him out or what had happened, but Jay-Z heard his story and he was like, we need to make you the documentary. He said okay, and then they went into more of the law that was happening. The judge was taken like to trial about it, not trial, but to the like, you know, where they like,
did any of the officers get like
yeah, so apparently some of the officers in Rikers were also caught for selling drugs during the area during his time, so a lot of them were taken out. A lot of officers were dirty cops during his time, so you could see it. There's still dirty cops in there, but there were some dirty cops there, of course, but there was more dirty cops when he was there. And then he was released, and basically the documentary ends with police saying he's like gonna start anew. And later you find out that his mother said that the mentality that he had from jail, he just couldn't handle it, so he ended up committing suicide. So
all of that from a backpack.
That really messed me up. He couldn't handle it. That he committed suicide basically. Like, I feel like that one was the saddest one. And then his mother died a couple months after him. I think it was like 2, and I think it was from something with her heart. I think last time I read it, I think it said like a broken heart.
Probably.
She also had heart conditions too. And then that was the case. That case really hits me. That's the most case. Like, I don't remember that one much of a case. But I don't remember. Man,
shout out to Jay-Z though for bringing that case to light.
Yeah, he really did. I don't know. I remember seeing it. That one really broke my heart because like none of that had to lead to that. He was like the kindest, like, and in the end it was just like nothing. But
like,
that one really messed with me.
That one fucks with my head so much. This is the first time I've ever heard it, but this shit is fucking with my head because it's just like over a fucking backpack, bro.
The way I'm saying it, I mean, the Netflix documentary is way much. Like, I can't watch that too much.
The dude that pointed at him probably just pointed at the first African American he saw. He was African American, right?
Yeah, he was African American.
He probably just pointed at the first African American he saw strolling.
He said he looked like him. He didn't say it was him.
That shit doesn't even make fucking sense. Oh, I'm so tired of people. Man, all we've learned today is that the majority of people targeted in everything are always African American and Latin people. So really, society hasn't gotten better, and racism is still very much alive.
It sure is.
And people can disagree with me, but I don't give a shit. But we just need to protect our African American friends and family. Well, I don't have family, not yet, and our Hispanics, especially the men, bro. Women too, bro. But they just have it so difficult and just so hard. It's like heartbreaking because it's just like that could be your friend. Yeah. Like that girl, that was her best friend. Yeah. Like I couldn't imagine or even fathom one of my freaking friends getting wrongfully committed and then that pushing him to want to take his own life. Like I couldn't fathom it. I would sue everybody in that fucking jail. Anyone who had any part of it. And not even for the money. They could keep the fucking money.
Yeah, they didn't give him any money.
Of course they didn't.
They didn't give him any money. They just, like, let him off.
Fucking bitches. Fuck New York, bro. All I'm getting from everything is fuck the whole damn United States. You know what? That's all I'm getting from this whole shit. Everyone is so fucked.
No, but I remember that one real specific because I remember it. It didn't have to go down like that. And the girl, like, legit, at the end of the documentary, she was talking about how she lost her friend. Damn, that's annoying. I hate it.
Mm-hmm. The justice system is just made for minorities to fail. That's all it's made for. Ugh. So we're done with the podcast today?
I mean, I told my story. You told yours.
Yeah, I told one because I'm really bad at telling stories.
I'm really bad at telling stories too. Like,
I'm really good at talking about paranormal shit.
I didn't remember the Khalif Browder one that well, and I feel really bad that I didn't remember that one.
Okay, so I guess we're done with this one. So you guys, thanks for tuning in to this podcast. This one was more of a serious one. It just, yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't even know how to end this on a happy term because I'm kind of just pissed. But, well, you guys will listen to it. I need to get better at ending the podcast because I always said we'll see you guys next time because I have a YouTube channel. If you guys want to go, like, look at my YouTube videos, this is the first time I've ever... This is, like, the first time I've ever shouted this shit out, but, like, Melody Flores, that's my YouTube channel. Yeah, and you can follow us on Instagram. My Instagram is Melody Flores with 3 S's and Flores. And what's yours, Tiffany?
Mine is love.
Spell it out, because it's not.
It's not like love. It has to be the latest version. LUV.tiff.
TIFF.
Yeah, TIFF.
Yeah.
Everything is Tiff.
Okay. Bye, you guys.